Hi everyone, I am so excited to have you all here today. So, a seminar today termed Trust Your Gut. And the reason for this is the gut is linked to so many functions in the body, but also diseases and adverse symptoms. So, today I really want you to understand how the link between your gut and your health. So, gut health can be defined as a state of well being and an absence of gastrointestinal distress. It is determined by numerous factors and largely by the gut microbiota. What is the gut microbiota? Well, it makes up our gut microbiome, and that is trillions of microorganisms that live inside the gut. So, the microbiome includes bacteria, viruses, non pathogenistic fungi, and these all play roles in digestion, metabolism, immune function, and it's 95% of the body's microbiota is found in the gut. So we have some in our vagina, on our skin, but 95% of it is in the gut. And I really love this diagram here because it shows us the digestive system. We've got the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, and in our stomach, we've got our small intestine, our large intestine, and our rectum. We've also got the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. So our liver makes bile acids that are stored in the gallbladder that aid in digestion and waste removal. Our pancreas lets out pancreatic enzymes. And that is all the parts of our digestive system. So, what does your gut do? These are the three things that everyone knows about: digestion, nutrient absorption, and waste removal. So, digestion, what happens? We chew, that is where digestion starts. We have saliva and it moves down into our small intestine. From here, we have hydrochloric acid that's released. This basically tries to kill off any bacteria, parasites, worms, pathogens that may be in our food. Remembering our food isn't sterile, so that's part of the role of hydrochloric acid. It also starts to break down some of those stronger meat proteins. From here, pancreatic juices are released and they alkaline the food essentially. And that's when our enzymes start to go in and break the food down further into digestible nutrients. So, for instance, protein isn't digested as protein, absorbed as protein. It's digested and made into amino acids that is then absorbed by the body. So, our gut absorbs these nutrients. And then when we talk about waste removal, so people always think poo, but poo isn't just food waste. Our liver detoxes our body and our blood from that, the toxins, including estrogens, other toxins, heavy metals, can go into the bile that are stored in the gallbladder, that is released into the stomach and all pooed out. So when we talk about waste removal, it's so important that we poo every day so that waste can be removed. And there's some functions that people don't generally know about in our digestive system. First of all, we've got protecting against pathogens. So our mouth to our bum is not sterile. It's actually an external surface of our body. And that gut lining is what protects us against pathogens. It protects that bacteria from moving into the bloodstream. Then we've got synthesis of vitamins. So we've got these beautiful gut bacteria, especially in our large bowel, that produce our fat soluble vitamins. Immune system development. So this happens through numerous ways, but those fat soluble vitamins feed our immune system, and nutrients that are absorbed through our gut feed our immune system. But our gut microbiome is the key to our immune system. So the more diversity in our microbiome, the better our immune system. And that's because they actually start the immune response. So if we were to come across a bacteria or a microbe from our food, maybe we've ingested it, then those gut microbiome or microbiota would start that immune response for us. So as children, the more diverse our gut microbiome, the better our immunity. And that's why being over clean isn't a good thing. Letting our kids get out in the dirt, get messy, be exposed to germs. And also vaginal delivery. The vaginal microbiome is all over the baby, and we are developing their immune system through exposure to microbes. Then we've got the promotion of intestinal angiogenesis, and this is, I guess, the rejuvenation of blood cells, making new blood cells, new gut lining. All of this needs to happen in the gut. We've got promotion of fat storage. So we don't want too much fat storage and we don't want too little fat storage. And a healthy gut will promote the adequate amount of fat storage. And then we've got short chain fatty acid production by fermentation of dietary fiber. I'll go into dietary fiber a little bit later, but basically we need short chain fatty acids, and these are fermented in our large bowel by our gut bacteria, and we need those for energy production in our cells. also for reduce inflammation and support with the inflammatory response. And then we have modulating of the nervous system. Well, essentially, we have a gut-brain axis. Our gut and our brain are connected. Serotonin and dopamine are made in the gut. These are our feel-good hormones. Serotonin is then converted into melatonin by our body throughout the day. So if we don't have those two hormones being produced, we've got some issues with our nervous system. We also have other things that can happen that can leave us in a fight or flight, anxiety. A gut dysbiosis can release histamine, which can go to our brain and also affect our central nervous system. Here we have a diagram, healthy gut versus an inflamed gut. You can see in our healthy gut, we've got our microbes sitting in there, we've got our mucus layer. So we have really strong stomach acid, really high acidity. If you've ever experienced reflux, you know how much that burns on the way up. So we have this beautiful mucus lining that protects our stomach lining, the physical barrier. Also, in this mucus, we have lots of different things that happen. So we have a release of enzymes, we've got microbes that live in there. So this is so important for our gut. Then we have the physical barrier. You can see that little villi on the edge, and we've got those tight junctions so nothing can get through. What happens is our nutrients will pass through those cells. So your zinc, your amino acids, magnesium will go through the cells. And on the other side, you've got your immunological barrier. If it's recognizable to the body, so it's a zinc, it's an amino acid, nothing happens. That amino layer stays there, everything's happy. But when you've got an inflamed gut, a dysbiosis, so this could be from eating inflammatory foods that you have an intolerance to, gluten or dairy. You could have a bacterial overgrowth. You could have a lack of stomach acid. All of these things can contribute to a gut dysbiosis. You've got reduced mucus, so you can see there the mucus is gone. You can see that the cell layer is not as tight. That becomes really inflamed. But also you've got food particles moving through there. You've got toxins and bacteria moving through there. And you can see there you've got an inflammatory response happening on the other side. And this is where inflammation can start. So you can have inflammation all around the body because it's happening inside of the body now. It's not just in the gut. It's moved through the gut lining to the bloodstream. And this is where we can see some autoimmune diseases turned on too. Here we've got a really good diagram now of what a gut microbiome dysbiosis might lead to. So we've got the healthy gut microbiome on one side, but you can see genetics, unhealthy diet, unhealthy lifestyle, stress can all impact into a gut dysbiosis. And these things can lead to gastrointestinal disease, liver disease. So we have a lot of young people who don't drink being diagnosed with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. And guess what the cause is? A gut dysbiosis. We heal the gut, we heal the liver. The liver is an incredible organ. You can literally cut out 95% of it and it will regrow. Healing the gut can often heal the liver. Obesity, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and other chronic health conditions. And this can include autoimmune diseases. But we fix the gut and we can start to heal these. We can start to change the way the body is reacting to the gut dysbiosis. We can reduce the inflammation and we can start to heal things. I just want to touch on a little bit more about the gut-brain axis because it is so important. So if we look at the top-down manner, first of all, we've got our brain and how it connects with our gut. If you are stressed, your body will go into fight or flight mode. And when you're in fight or flight, digestion turns off. No stomach acid production, no digestion happens. Your body thinks that you're about to get attacked by a tiger and you need all of your energy to run away. So it stops. Doesn't want to waste your energy on digestion. It doesn't know that you're just stressed from work or you're just stressed from the kids. The body can't differentiate by that. It's that fight or flight response, that stress response. And when that digestion is stopped, you've got food just sitting there and fermenting. And guess what happens? Bacteria overgrows. And this is the start of a bacterial overgrowth. If it's just a one-off stress response, fine. It'll go away and everything will go back to normal. But when we're stuck in a chronic state of stress, I see this especially in busy mums because we are stressed all the time. We're not mindfully eating as a number one cause of gut problems. But then we've got that bottom up manner where an imbalance in gut health can impact the brain through numerous ways. As we talked about before, that production of feel-good hormones. We've got anxiety, we've got histamine, we can lead to headaches and other CNS symptoms, brain fog. So we've got lots of pathways that can be affected either way, from the brain down to the gut and the gut back up to the brain. So let's talk about what is a healthy gut. You need to poo at least once a day. The ideal person would eat food, poo straight after the meal. In one end, the last meal would come out the other end, not that meal straight away, and it would be smooth and sausage-like. As you can see, we've ticked that one. The others are either too hard or too loose. That means that you're either constipated or you're having diarrhea. If you're having diarrhea, things are moving through too quickly. You're not absorbing your nutrients. If you've got constipation, your motility has reduced. Your body's probably reabsorbing that waste, and it's definitely not good for you. Both need to be addressed. A healthy gut is no bloating, no cramping, no pain, no reflux, no heartburn, no mucus in stools, absence of disease. And when disease occurs, let's check in with your gut, find out what's going on. And of course, the most important thing here is, how do we create a healthy gut? First things first, look at your diet. You need to remove inflammatory foods. So if you know that you're sensitive to gluten or lactose, don't have it. It's too inflammatory for you. You just need to get rid of it. But inflammatory foods might look like seed oils, processed foods, preservatives, thickeners, artificial colors, artificial flavors. If it's not a real food, don't eat it. If it's packaged, don't eat it. These are not everyday foods. Sure, if you want to have a treat every now and then, a packet of chips on a Friday night while you're watching a movie, that's fine, but these should not be eaten every day. They're inflammatory and they're really bad for your gut. At the end of this presentation, I've got a download link. You can download a guide that will help you remove these. You need to eat whole foods. If it's got too many ingredients, it comes in a packet, it's not a whole food. Take it back to basics and make sure you're eating enough fiber. More on fiber in a little while. Lifestyle is so important. Don't drink too much alcohol. It's inflammatory. It depletes essential vitamins. Hurts your gut. And by too much alcohol, I mean more than once a week. Get out in the sun. The sun is so important for gut health. Vitamin D from the sun has a direct correlation with a healthy gut. Manage your stress. As we talked about before, that gut-brain axis. If you're stressed, your gut's not going to be working optimally. Exercise, movement. Our gut moves. It's called peristalsis. It moves as it digests food and pushes it down. The more you move, the better your gut is going to work. And make sure you get enough sleep. Sleep is the best anti-inflammatory we have. Make sure that you're sleeping. Mindful eating. Now, this is something we could all practice, especially as busy mums, because we're always on the go. But sit down, smell your food. When you smell your food, your mouth will start to produce saliva. And that saliva is actually telling your stomach what's coming, what enzymes need to be released. Making sure you're eating slowly and chewing thoroughly to stimulate digestion. Chewing is the first part of digestion. The better you chew, the easier job it is for your stomach to continue to break down that food and get the nutrients out of it. So you should chew something until it's in a nice paste and then swallow. And minimize your fluids. So every time you're drinking fluid, you're just diluting your stomach acids and your digestive juices. So minimal fluids during a meal is best. And then, of course, the benefits of fiber. Fiber adds bulk to our stools. It promotes regular bowel movements and prevents constipation. Weight management, fiber keeps you fuller for longer. Blood sugar management, it helps regulate your BGLs. Again, when you eat, you'll have a spike in a BGL. If you've got enough fiber, it just slows everything down a little bit to not allow that BGL to spike. Now, when I'm talking about fiber, I'm not talking about white bread and white pasta. The fibers that I'm talking about are legumes, whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Heart health, fiber can reduce cholesterol. Colon health, so fiber feeds the beneficial bacteria in our colon, making those short-chain fatty acids. And of course, blood pressure regulation. Well, these are all the reasons why you need to include enough fiber in your diet. And fermented foods. Now, here's one. If you are reacting to fermented foods, it means you need help with your gut. If you've got a bacterial overgrowth, quite often you'll be reacting to fermented foods as well as FODMAPs, but we'll go over that in a little while. Because the gut imbalance, that bacteria that's overgrown that is causing you those symptoms, also likes fermented foods. But if you want a way to boost your gut or you're not having a lot of issues, then you absolutely need to include fermented foods in your diet. These can be so beneficial. They include prebiotics and probiotics, and they feed that healthy, good gut bacteria. Now, how do you know if your gut needs help? If you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I've got some symptoms, but I'm not sure, try all those other things first. But essentially, it's better to work on it now than when it gets worse. As you've learned here, poor gut health can lead to disease. So now's your time to get on top of that. If you've got bloating, constipation, diarrhea, histamine intolerance, rosacea, acne, belching, trapped gas, nausea, reflux, heartburn, if you feel worse after eating out, you're reacting to FODMAP foods. So things like gluten, garlic, apples, mangoes, pears, watermelon, dairy, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, legumes, honey, you need help with your gut. And with these FODMAPs, you can see that you don't want to cut these out. A lot of these are really healthy, nutritious foods. And again, what happens is the bacteria are imbalanced in your gut. Those bacteria like these foods too. So you're actually reacting to it. They eat them, they let out gas, there's more inflammation in your body, you're bloating, you're probably getting some histamine symptoms, maybe headaches. You can feel the effect of these foods. Not cutting them out, we need to heal your gut and then we reintroduce them because you need the nutrients in those foods. Here are some symptoms that you may not necessarily relate to your gut, but are actually could be related to your gut health. Being sick frequently, as we learned, the gut is the key to the immune system. Poor gut, poor immune system. Mood fluctuations, that brain gut axis. Autoimmune diseases, not all of them, but some of them start with that leaky gut. Food and toxins moving into the body, autoinflammation turns on, your body turns on itself. High cholesterol, high estrogen, fatigue, brain fog, thyroid issues, restless legs, joint pain. So if you've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, check your gut. UTIs. Our vaginal microbiome is linked with our gut microbiome. Gut dysbiosis can lead to frequent UTIs. Headaches, the histamine from the inflammation in our gut, histamine intolerance also leads to headaches. Eczema, hives, insomnia, anxiety are all symptoms that your gut may be out of balance. So if this is you, it's time to do something about it. You don't want to wait until you're in pain or disease presents itself. Really, healing the gut is so much easier in the earlier stages. You're not going to be lacking that many nutrients. When you're really nutrient deficient, you're really fatigued and you're dealing with a lot of strain on your body, it can be so hard to stick to a protocol. Of course, a practitioner will always guide you. And if you like help, I'm here to support you as well. But the sooner you get onto this, the better. I've got some resources here. QR codes. First one is called Level Up Your Pantry. Scan the QR code, you'll be able to download that. That's going to help you get all the nasties out of your diet. It's also got some really good recipes that will help you on your gut healing journey. The second one is the Mediterranean diet. Now, as busy women, this is the diet I recommend to you. Of course, if you're intolerant to gluten or dairy, you need to remove those, but this diet is so wholesome. You've got healthy fats, you've got lots of protein, you've got fiber in there too. Fruits, vegetables, legumes. If you follow a Mediterranean diet, you're going to be well on the way to living your best life, feeling energized, feeling full, and feeding your body with the essential nutrients that it needs.